And they said, and so you will pick up Cecilia. And she went, no, poverina. She said, I am too heavy. And I said, no, I'll be all right. Let me just explain. The floor at this point was water. They had basically a sort of large, sort of very shallow tank. But I had to pick up and walk with Cecilia across this, what would look like a lake, to the stage, and pick her up and walk slowly with her off the stage. And I was utterly terrified and had to keep saying to myself, don't drop Cecilia Bartoli. No, you will be famous for not the right reason. I was born into a fourth-generation Salvation Army family in Manchester. So probably from the age 7 or 8, I started playing the cornet, the trumpet. It was the best free music education you could hope for, because you were constantly playing or singing something new every week in, week out, performing all the time. And but the trumpet or the cornet was going to be my thing. When it eventually came to it, I did auditions for the colleges, and I did get into the Royal Academy of Music. Trumpet as a first study and singing as a second study. And I had a teacher that said, oh, you've got a good voice. And we had lessons, and I learned a few songs. I went in for these competitions, and I sang my 2 arias that I knew. I probably only knew 4. But I won the competition. It was a kind of polite applause. And I went and collected my prize, and I got a check for some money. I thought, well, this is great. So I did another competition, and I won that one as well. And I thought, well, this is going well. So then the Academy talked to me, think, well, you should be a singer. We think you should be a singer. So I finished my course as a trumpet player after 3 years, combined them both for a year, which was interesting, and then stayed on a few years to do singing more focused. But I did not go into opera as a singer. I didn't do that at that stage. I really became a choral singer who did concerts. So then I joined the BBC Singers, and I could fit in a bit more comfortably there. And it was a salaried job, and that was that and I stayed there for 13 years. I was starting to get itchy feet. I then had to unlearn what had been nearly 15 years of choral singing. Instead of blending in, I had to learn how to stick out. I did an audition for the Royal Opera House. My agent rang me, and he said, Bryn, I've had a really lovely letter from the Royal Opera House. Brindley has a fine bass voice. Where shall we start? I mean, this was unbelievable to me. And it really changed the direction of my career. Other companies, for example, that had said, well, blah, 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 they came to that and saw me up on the stage singing. Then they changed their tune a little bit and sort of said, oh, perhaps you'd like to come and sing for us. And E&O, for example, the first offer there was to sing Zarastro. It's become the role I've done most regularly. Yeah, last count was about 172 performances. It's something, when you look at the Zarastro's music on the page, it looks so easy. It's just beep, beep, dee, 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 da, 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 slow. This is easy. It's not particularly high. It goes low, but it's not like show-off low. But to sing it really, really beautifully with proper legato and to make it sound fairly effortless and interesting is still one of the biggest challenges. But it's like, if I can sing Zarastro's arias, I know my voice is in good shape. There was a period in 2005, 3 productions within a 6-month period with my hero. John Tomlinson was singing Boris. John Tomlinson was singing Kingfisher. John Tomlinson was singing Balstrode. It really was a case of, in the movie Jaws, when Brody goes to the back of the boat and is feeding scraps. And he goes to the captain and he said,
you're going to need a bigger boat.
And John Tomlinson was singing at me. I thought, you're going to need a bigger boat. In terms of his commitment on stage to text and intensity and vibrance and bringing it alive to everybody in the room, I thought, I want to be like that as a singer. I don't want to just stand and make a pretty noise. you. Claggett is an out-and-out brute. He's an out baddie. You haven't got that, and you're too nice a chap, you know. And this was so frustrating. This went on for years, and I thought, I'd love to sing Claggett. I just want to do Claggett. You know, no, please let me do it. And eventually, the chance came to do it in a blind boy, and I thought, I could do this now. I can sing a heavy, bad role, and absolutely loved it. I did it with a guy really with more deep-seated issues than just an out-and-out thug. I was more subtle and manipulative, like a snake, really. In the score, it says that Claggett has a rattan. He's the master at arms on a ship in 1797, and the master at arms was literally like the policeman on the ship, and he would keep things in, and he would whack people with this stick. Even though subsequent productions, sometimes they took my stick away because I had big men who do all the brutish stuff, and I didn't do anything. I just was somebody who was took care of his cufflinks and was very correct and manipulative. A semi-stage production we did at Snake Maltings back in 2017. And because it was semi-staged, there wasn't really any requirement for any costume or anything like that. Last minute, the night before I drove up to Snape, I thought I could do the stick. So I went into my shed and I got a broom handle. I chopped it off. And I took this up and I used this on at Snake Maltings to do John Claggett. And now this is in my studio, sitting there as a memento. This is Cleggett's stick. But yeah, the role changed my life, and that has been probably my best moments on stage. Some of the best moments that I've been doing that role, either at Madrid or Royal Opera House or at the Vienna State Opera last autumn, was awesome.